Hi, my name is Ethan, and when I was younger, I went to a place of myth and legend called Blockbuster. It was there that one day I came across a game that I had no idea existed, but a game which I would soon discover was more than meets the eye. Transformers. Having played with the toys and watching one of the TV shows as a kid, you can only imagine my excitement when I finally found a game of it. This was even before the 2007 movie came out, so there wasn't even like a tie-in game or anything like that out yet. However, unlike the TV show I was watching and the 2007 movie that would come out, this game took place in the Armada universe, which is one I'm not too familiar with even now. What I was familiar with though was the three Autobots you could play as: Hotshot, Red Alert, and of course, Optimus Prime. As I was watching the Transformers Cybertron series at the time, which happened to feature all three of them as well. This game also featured Gary Chalk as the voice of Optimus Prime, which was the same as the Cybertron TV show, so I didn't actually experience the true voice of Optimus Prime until the 2007 movie. Anyway, enough about all that, let's head down memory lane and start this game. Take it away, Optimus.
Autobots, we must stop Megatron. Roll out!
Our adventure begins on the planet of Cybertron with the Autobots under attack from the Decepticons. We see Hotshot and Red Alert jump out of a building and look back up and see their leader Optimus Prime to face off with Megatron, the leader of the Decepticons. Optimus charges at Megatron but quickly finds himself overpowered and helpless to Megatron. Suddenly though, a light appears and it turns out to be a distress beacon from the Minicons. A lost race of Transformers. Megatron, knowing the power the Minicons possess, orders all Decepticons to go after them. And Optimus, hearing this, orders all the Autobots to go and stop the Decepticons. And with that, the game begins. I remember finding this game hard as a kid, so I thought I'd check out the Commander difficulty initially, just to see if that was the reason why. Like maybe I accidentally picked a difficulty without thinking. But no, turns out that wasn't the case. Oh. Oh. This isn't great. Oh dear. Almost half my health is gone already. Jesus Christ. So after trying the Commander difficulty and realising that isn't something I particularly want to do for this video, I decided I'd just go to the Recruit difficulty and go from there. After choosing Hotshot as my Autobot, we start our first mission, which takes us to the Amazon. We start with a Recruit tutorial, which just has us move around, jump, and do some shooting, along with learning about the recon mode as well. Once we've finished the tutorial, we then come across a Decepticon ship, which has dropped off Decepticlones to capture a Minicon. We make quick work of them, and then we get our hands on our first Minicon.
You've rescued a Minicon. Good work.
Now, while I've told you guys the Minicons are a lost race of Transformers, you're probably wondering what they do. So the Minicons in this game each have an ability and power value assigned to them. So in this case, the Minicon we just found allows us to shoot an energon-seeking missile. And while it doesn't show us the power value, we can go back to the Autobot HQ to find out what it is. This one has a power value of 1, so we don't have to worry too much about it taking up too many power points. Oh, I should probably also mention, each Autobot has a different assigned power value to it. So in this case, Hotshot has probably, I think, the lowest power value, while Red Alert has a balanced sort of mid-range, and Optimus has the most power, so he can hold the most Minicons. The player can hold up to 4 Minicons at once, so since we got our first one, we can get up to 3 more and keep them on us at all times. However, we do need to keep in mind that not every Minicon is going to be the best for every situation, and we might actually require some Minicons in order to progress through the area, so making sure we get as many as possible to give us the best chance in every fight is really important. And also not playing favourites on certain ones, and while some are just going to be that good because they're that good, we should be open to switching them out as much as we can. Not long after getting our first Minicon, we come across a warp gate. Warp gates are basically checkpoints in this game, so we want to make sure we get these to have our progress saved, because if we die, we don't want to have to start the whole level over again and try and find everything. Not only that, they can take us back to the Autobot HQ so we can change our Minicon loadout, and we can also use them to go between different maps once we've unlocked them, which is handy for us finding Minicons that we might need for specific tasks. After that, we head over to a ruined temple where we blast up some Decepticlones. We make a slight detour to get a minicon. This minicon increases our attack damage, so if we hit someone with a melee attack, we're going to be hitting them a bit harder than we would have done before. After we got that, we return to the ruined temple and start making our way up, defeating any Decepticlones we find along the way. As we're making our way around the top of the ruined temple, we get a message from Optimus telling us to head over to this bridge, and he says to use our vehicle mode to get over there as quickly as we can. Before we head over to the bridge though, I notice there's a light in front of us, so I head over to it and it turns out to be a data log. Now, data logs don't give us anything, but you can collect them. They're just a collectible thing, you can go around and get them. I'm not going to worry too much about them in this, just because they don't give us anything, but the chances are I'll probably run into more, because they have the exact same light energy as minicons do. So when you look across the map and see all the glowing things, and you're just like, oh, that could be a minicon, well, turns out half the time it won't be. It'd be a data log, which sucks. But, oh well. At least, the only good thing about them is that if you interact with them and you're low on health, they actually give you Energon to regen with. But, I mean, enemies do that when they're destroyed anyway. So, yeah, not worried about them. We start driving our way over to the bridge, destroying some Decepticlones along the way. I find a couple of data logs while I'm there as well, which is a bit annoying. Kind of wish I got some more minicons. We finally start making our way across the bridge, and I can see a checkpoint on the other side, so I look forward to getting over there as quick as I can and destroying the Decepticlones along the way. We then get a call from Optimus telling us to head up to the top of the mountains, that it seems like Decepticons are on the march in that direction, so we should head over there as quickly as we can. But we need to bear in mind that there are some wide ravines on the way, so we'll have to be careful when trying to get over them, because a typical jump ain't gonna cut it. I jump over the ravines using my vehicle mode, because actually when you come out of vehicle mode, you do a huge leap. That, and with the speed that you're combined with, you just guarantee yourself to get across it. I'm able to find another minicon as well, which gives me proximity mines, which is really great because I encounter a new enemy type up ahead. It's a spider turret thing. I don't quite know what it is. I wouldn't call it a Decepticlone like the others. So, yeah, I just shoot loads of mines at it, blow it up, and we got ourselves another minicon. This minicon gives us a 360 shield, so you know I'm putting that on right away, because that could come in real handy. I claim the checkpoint and start making my way up the mountain to the top. Defeating any Decepticlones along the way is a pretty simple and straightforward climb, to be honest. So once I get to the top, I find myself another minicon which I send back to HQ. I defeat another spider turret thing, and then I just take a moment to enjoy the view of the map. Seeing that there are some light sources in the distance, and since I knew that the next thing I was going to encounter would be the final boss for this area, I thought I'd actually do some backtracking, and actually go and get some minicons. If I could anyway, or data logs if that's what they were. Which was a bit disappointing, but you never know. Just explore the area a bit before we called it.
This planet is Decepticon property now, Autobot! Heavy unit, attack!
Our first boss is a Decepticlone, which is actually a heavy unit. Thankfully, having my shield and the proximity mines made this fight a bit easier. Though I did actually take quite a bit of damage during the fight. I wasn't too worried when doing it, but you know, it was a bit close at one point, and I didn't exactly want to lose on the first boss fight. But you know, we got there, it was fine. Once we defeated the boss, Optimus Prime and Red Alert warp over to our position, and we start searching for the minicons.
Over here!
Once we find them, the minicons come together and send off some sort of light. It turns out again to be another signal which they're contacting other minicons on Earth. Optimus tells the Autobots to head back to HQ so they can trace it, and we can find out the location of more minicons. Having returning to the Autobot HQ, we find out that the next location for some minicons is Antarctica, so we immediately head over there in search of more minicons. When we arrive in Antarctica, we're not alone, and I'm not talking about the Decepticons or the Decepticlones. I'm actually talking about the extra minicon we got. That's right, one of the minicons we met earlier is now teaming up with us. In this case, we have Jolt, who's Hot Rod's partner. I think he's also his partner in the show, so it makes sense that they actually have ones that they can team up with. These 3 minicons are different to the previous ones we've met, as in they don't take up a slot, and they give us a unique ability called the Power Links. Now the Power Links can be activated by pressing the square button, and when we do that, we enhance all of our tech abilities. However, it comes at a price of our Energon, which if you remember, I mentioned earlier, that's also our health, which means if we run out of it, that's it. And I actually find it's quite the sacrifice how quick it drains, so it's not really a technique I use very much. But it still could come in handy in the right situation. Not only that, Jolt can actually sometimes shoot enemies for us, depending on how close he is to us when we're engaging in combat. And sometimes I tend to hit him or run him over with my vehicle mode. I promise it's not on purpose. After Optimus explained to us about the power links, we head on in search of minicons. We actually encounter a new type of enemy here as well. This one will send out SOS signals if they're not destroyed quick enough. Luckily I knew this going into it, so I took care of them as quickly as I could, so we didn't have to worry too much about it. But occasionally they did manage to get off a signal in time, and it meant I had to fight some more Decepticlones, but I made quick work of them. After a little while we make our way to a clearing, and we get a message from Optimus saying to investigate a source of smoke, because Decepticons are moving in on the area. Since this area is quite open and doesn't have any trees or obstacles really in the way, other than some gaps, which we can easily clear because it's nothing like the ravines we faced in the last level, it's super easy to actually just fly across this level. So I actually beat it really quickly, and just go around and get some minicons. So it doesn't take me long to get over to where the smoke's coming from and find a new minicon there. This one has some grenades, so I decided to equip it for the time being, just to give it a go. After some more exploring, I do find another minicon as well, which this one is similar to the one we found in the last level at proximity mines, except this one will stick to enemies. Not only that, they'll explode after a short delay, so even if I don't shoot them like I did the proximity mines, they should go off on their own, which is great, because I just spam fire them and do serious damage to the enemies. We also come across the minicon called Lookout. This one gives us basically a sniper rifle, and when we enter recon mode, it provides an extra level of zoom, which means we can see even further in the distance. As I continue, I eventually get another message from Optimus saying there's a research center under attack and there's heavy Decepticlone activity detected. Optimus tells us to secure it, so we move into the area to do so. I make my way into the research center trying to take it back from the Decepticlones. Though I do take some serious damage, I'm able to eventually get rid of them all. After taking out the Decepticlones, I make my way into the research center, seeing as there is a minicon in the hangar bay. However, it turned out we weren't alone.
Prepare for extermination!
Yeah, that's right, we got a Decepticon to deal with now. It'd be interesting to know if any of you guys actually recognise this Decepticon, as he's actually appeared in the Transformers movies, so if you're familiar with those but not with this, take a guess. Who do you think this is? Yeah, believe it or not, this is Starscream. He's got a pretty cool design here. It's probably one of my favourites. And he just looks badass. So yeah, we got quite the Decepticon on our hands here. Fighting Starscream is a bit of a pain as he keeps flying around in his vehicle mode. However, if we do enough damage at the right time, he'll actually crash land into the ground. And we have an opportunity to shoot him up before he goes back and flies away. Luckily, having my shield and some of the other minicon powers I have now, I'm able to eventually overpower him. Though again, it is a very close fight. Having defeated Starscream, the Autobots decide to head off in search of more minicons. I'm sure we won't be seeing him again. We don't quite leave Antarctica straight away, as I want to get the minicon that was in the base that we fought Starscream in. I also have a quick look around the map just to make sure I haven't missed anything that I could have reached. And then I head back to Autobot HQ and we move on to our next location. Having returned to the Autobot HQ, we find out our next location is the Amazon again, but just deeper. We're going into the deep Amazon. Upon arriving, we get a message from Optimus Prime, telling us that Cyclonus is in the area, but they don't know where he is. But we should head to the Sun Temple, as there's a minicon on top of it. So we transform and roll out and head on down the hill. After dealing with some Decepticlones, we find ourselves another minicon. You may have noticed, despite me saying that you could have up to 4 minicons, one of the slots was actually taken up by the blaster until now. And the last minicon we actually got from Antarctica actually replaced our blaster. This minicon can replace our blaster as well, which is quite handy as it can make it a bit easier now to deal with certain situations, having a stronger blaster compared to our standard one. But again, like the other minicons, we have to think about the situation for whether it's going to be better to use that over something else. For example, the Zapper one I got from Antarctica means it can actually spread between multiple Decepticlones at once, so it's quite good for dealing with multiple enemies, especially when they're grouped up. But the blaster I just picked up will probably do more damage to a specific single target, which is great for dealing with the Decepticons when they have to fight the bosses. While here we also encounter a new enemy type, which is a invisible ape-like Decepticlone? Or should I say beast? These beast-like Decepticlones are actually quite strong when they get up close, so dealing with them from a distance is really important, because they can make us go ragdoll, and when that happens, it's not fun. We start making our way over to the Sun Temple, and we have to cross over a bridge. However, there's a couple of turrets, so you know I'm going into vehicle mode and flying straight across the bridge to avoid them and take them out as quickly as I can. So after dealing with some of the Decepticlones and taking out the turrets in the area, we start finally making our way up the Sun Temple. However, because of the damage it's taken, we can't actually simply run up the stairs to the top. We actually have to move around it and navigate and find the best way up that we can. Once we get high enough, we're actually able to enter the temple itself and work our way around in there. It's a bit small and narrow, but luckily there's not too many strong Decepticlones in here, so it's quite fairly straightforward just to get through it, though I do take a bit of damage. After navigating the temple for a while, I do come across a minicon, and then I find my way to the warp gate for the area. Knowing that what was coming next would be the boss, I got myself ready and headed on up. Going into this boss fight, I knew he was going to use a cool move on me, and I knew I probably couldn't avoid it. So, enjoy. Oh, I do love the ragdoll physics in this game. Yeah, so this is Cyclonus. He's one of 2 Decepticons that have a move where they just grab you and sort of ragdoll you a bit. Luckily though, I think the developers knew that you wouldn't survive a big fall like that from Cyclonus, so they seem to have let you live it, because I mean if you fell from that height after being thrown, compared to other places where you take a bit of damage, I think it would leave you almost half health. Either that, I got lucky on landing. Cyclonus isn't too bad, but again, he can overwhelm you in his vehicle mode by shooting a lot of bullets. Luckily with the shield and my variation of minicons, I'm able to eventually take him down, and he was actually a lot easier than I thought. Having defeated Cyclonus, we see the Decepticons head off, so we decide to head after them. But before we quickly leave, I head back to the Sun Temple and grab the minicon that was on the top. Once I picked it up, I returned to HQ and we moved on to our next area, Mid-Atlantic. Going into this area, I knew what boss I was going to be facing. think it was actually the boss that was the most pain in the arse for me when I was younger. So yeah, I was really looking forward to dealing with this again and seeing if it was as hard as I thought. And it did not disappoint when I got to it, I'll tell you that much. Anyway, we spawn on the beach and start driving around, and we end up finding a minicon. And this minicon is actually one of the most important ones you get, as we can't actually progress without it. So when we spawned on the beach, we see that there's a Decepticon ship off in the water. The problem is we have no way of getting to it. And this minicon gives us the ability to glide. So we actually have to keep this on us at all times if we want to get onto that ship. That, and it's just great for navigating, which is really good because it can help us go back to the previous maps and potentially find minicons that we might have to fly to. Or glide, I should say. Anyway, after picking up the minicon, I'm making a slight detour to pick up what was a data log. God's sake, man. Go away. After working our way up a rock, we end up jumping off it and gliding across onto the Decepticon cruiser and start making our way through Decepticlones to get inside. We also encounter another new enemy type, which is the flight unit. Luckily, they're not too bad to deal with, so we make quick work of them. Eventually, we break our way inside, dispatching of all the Decepticlones. Now, if you noticed, I actually walked around the back of the ship, which I'm not actually supposed to do. I'm supposed to defeat the Decepticlones, and then I will have an option to go down into the ship. But I think this way works better, as I've fought less and got there quicker. Once I work my way inside the ship and keep moving through, dispatching all the Decepticlones along the way, eventually I make it to the command deck, where I mess with the navigation system, and we get an unexpected surprise. Well, I knew it was coming.
Take cover. It's tidal wave.
That's right, this whole Decepticon ship was a Decepticon itself, called Tidal Wave. Now, this guy sucks. He's a pain in the ass. And he's not going to make it easy for us. However, he's probably the boss I remember most from this game, because of just his sheer size and trying to deal with him and his sheer power. He was scarier to me than Megatron. And the crazy part is, I checked out some speedruns for this game as well, and some people have been able to do like a glide technique, which has gotten them enough height, they can then land on his head, and then start shooting him repeatedly in the face, and he can't do anything. Speedrunners are crazy, man. If you ever think you're good at a game, watch a speedrunner play it, and then you'll realise you're not even close. Now, going into this fight against Tidal Wave, I knew this was going to be a pain in the ass. He's just so strong, and while I do get him very low very quickly, and it's very close, unfortunately I get taken out by a few missiles, and that's the end of my good run of it.
Ah, no! His laser got me.
I knew going into this fight I'd have to mess around with my minicons to find the best solution to deal with him, because otherwise we were going to be stuck here for quite a while. So I do go back to Autobot HQ several times and sort out my minicons to try and find something better suited to deal with this guy. But unfortunately it's not exactly a quick one. And at one point I got so close.
Look how low I got this fucker. Oh my god, look how low he is! Come on, you bastard! Oh no. No! Oh.
I was that close. But then the bloody missiles came down and I couldn't deal with him. I mean, like, he was like a hit away. Look how low he is. Yeah, Tidal Wave didn't disappoint when I had to fight him again. He was certainly the most challenging, and I can understand why as a kid I really did struggle with this, and it purely wasn't just a difficulty thing, he was just that strong. Though after several attempts I am eventually able to beat him.
Yes! We got him. He's down. Tidal Wave about to make a tidal wave. That's how he earned his name.
After defeating Tidal Wave, I actually decided to head back to some of the other maps, just to have a quick look for any minicons I might be able to reach, as they could come in handy, especially if there's some powerful ones. While back at HQ, I decide I'll switch out my Autobot just so I can try out each one, so I jump over to Red Alert and decide to use him. Alaska. That's right, we're now in Alaska, and we're Red Alert and we're going around. Now you may have noticed at this point, I actually have quite a big health bar here, or a big shield going around it at least. So something I should have mentioned earlier was that if you use minicons of the same colour, they actually apply certain buffs. So in this case, because I have 2 red ones and 2 yellow ones, they're each giving me a buff based off that. So because of that, it's giving me a fair amount of health and shield here, which can come in handy later, especially if I group up all of the same colour, and I might get a big buff from it, which will help keep me around longer in the tougher fights to come. When we arrive in Alaska, we actually encounter a new enemy type again, but we just blast them away and deal with them. They're not too tough. We continue to make our way through the snow, mostly avoiding the enemies just because I didn't see the point of fighting them unless I needed to. So I just kind of transform and roll out and blast my way through. Though while on the way, I come across a Decepticon's ship, and I decide to do a vehicle jump into it, and I actually manage to get inside it. The problem is, once I destroy the enemies, I get trapped inside. Though eventually after blasting it a lot, it explodes, and then I just start falling.
I destroyed it. Ow. Oh dear.
Luckily I don't take too much damage, and we progress on yet again. As we progress on, we actually come across another enemy type. This one actually reminds me of Sideswipe from the Transformers live action movies. And unfortunately, he's not exactly a pushover. He does some serious damage to us and actually sends us flying around quite a bit as well. He packs one hell of a punch. Eventually, though, we're able to take him down. Moving along, we find another minicon. This one gives us a boost to our jump, so we can jump higher than we normally can. I don't equip it straight away, but immediately once I go into the next little area, I have to have it because I can't make the jumps. Probably should have thought about it, but I thought I didn't need it, and then I did immediately. After making our way into a cave and defeating the Decepticons, I equipped the jump minicon because I need it to progress through here, as I have to jump up this huge cave all the way up to the top. And while it's not exactly the most smoothest transition to get all the way up there, I eventually make it all the way up to the top. Though after making some really good progress, I get blown up by a grenade, and I end up falling all the way back down to the bottom.
You fucker. Ow. I'm all the way at the bottom again. Oh dear.
So yeah, I have to climb the cave all over again and get back up to the top. But when I get up there, I deal with those Decepticons that knock me back down, and I felt a lot better. Eventually, we find our way out the cave and find a warp gate, which I was really happy about as it meant if I fell, it wouldn't be as punishing. Moving my way along, I fight some Decepticons but underestimate my lack of health, and while I think I can deal with a melee fight, I end up getting overwhelmed and punched down to the ground.
Oh, really? I thought I did the hit.
And my pain doesn't stop there, as when I respawn and have to walk along again, I accidentally slip off the side and fall down to the very bottom.
Oh, shit.
And the thing is, I don't die or take serious damage. So in the end, I just blew myself up to get back up to the top again. Because, yeah, I'm not climbing that shit again. Eventually, after falling off several more times, I make my way up to the top and find myself a minicon. Then as I'm just nicely walking along, well, there's a ship heading our way.
There's no escape.
Narrowly avoiding getting hit by the ship, we return to the Autobot HQ. Our next mission takes us to the very ship that almost killed us. Due to the starship being damaged, we're able to warp inside it. Optimus tells us to locate Starscream, so we head out in search of him, dealing with any of the Decepticlones along the way. The starship is probably my least favourite level, especially when we get to the second half of it. It's just not fun. It's just really annoying. After spending a lot of time navigating through the ship and dying a few times, we eventually make our way up to the flight deck. Once there we find a minicon, but we are immediately interrupted with a bunch of Decepticlones. Eventually we're able to deal with them and we go to access a terminal, but then we get jumped by Starscream. And yeah, things aren't great. Now this is the part of the mission I least enjoyed. It just focuses very much on platforming, and the game's just not good enough for that, and it's so easy for things to go wrong. Luckily, I don't have too hard of a time navigating through the ship, but it was just annoying. Eventually, though, after navigating through the ship and working our way out, we get out into the open.
Oh.
Knowing that I was going to be facing a boss fight, I decided to switch out my minicons in preparation for it.
I'll rip out your optics.
That's right, we're facing off against Starscream again. It takes me a few attempts as well as swapping out different minicons to try and find the best combination. In the end, I focused on having a few that would give me extra defense, which seemed to help me out to survive his more powerful attacks. After we defeat Starscream, Optimus interrogates him, though Starscream won't talk. However, we're able to hack his warp transponder to find out where Megatron is. Megatron's location seems to be on a Pacific island, so we head over there as soon as we can. For this last mission, I also decided to switch up to Optimus, and get a new loadout of minicons with me as well. The Decepticon presence in this area is quite high, so we'll have to be careful as we move around. We also need to make sure we have the glider with us, so even though I sorted out a new minicon selection, I have to head back to grab it. Megatron seems to be in the volcano, so we're going to have to work our way up and around to him. This was one of my least favourite maps as well. I enjoyed it early on, but at this point, I don't know, it felt more annoying than it was fun at this stage. So I basically just tried to get through it as quickly as I could. It just wasn't fun to navigate around, really. After dying a few times and locating some good minicons that might be able to help us out, we're eventually able to work our way up to the top of the volcano. That's right, I'm just skipping to the top of the volcano, fuck it. Knowing I was going to be facing Megatron, I decided to sort out my loadout again in preparation for the fight. With Optimus locked in, we head on down to face the almighty Megatron.
Come, Autobot. Let's finish it.
Now, I remember struggling with this fight when I was younger, but I wasn't as concerned because Tidal Wave was the worst one. This was like the third offender after Starscream as well. But it wasn't too bad. In fact, I actually beat him on my first attempt. I was quite happy with myself. Also, he has a cool move similar to Cyclonus as well. Doesn't send you flying quite as high, but it's still quite fun. I had to let him do it to me at least once.
Oh, he's gonna do that instead. He's gonna Junior guard me. Oh my god, that was painful. Yay, doing the move. Gotta do it once. God. I don't know, that move just like lives. It's just like one of the just fucking dope.
Despite it taking me a little while, eventually I'm able to take Megatron down.
Megatron!
Pride. You don't even know when you've won.
No, Megatron, no.
Having defeated Megatron, we won the game, right? We defeated the big bad.
Oh no, what could be happening? Didn't we defeat the final boss? Oh dear.
Oh no. It's Unicron. That's right, Unicron's attacking Cybertron. So we need to get 30 minicons? Oh, I've got 24. Bollocks. Guess I'm backtracking. Similar to like Sonic games where you have to get all the emeralds. It's like, get all the minicons, but not all the minicons, just 30 of them. At least we have 24, we're not too far off, but we're going to have to do a bit backtracking to get them. So I scoured the old maps that we've been on in search of minicons, especially the ones I knew I just kind of ran through. And I was like, I could get back and find them. After collecting 30 minicons, it's time to face Unicron, so we head to Cybertron.
We made it. Oh dear.
Unicron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
The minicons. The power of the minicons. I can become Super Prime.
The minicons have come together to give Optimus a power boost. With him, he can access more power from the Matrix. I guess is the idea? They don't really explain it. In fact, this entire boss fight feels like it's kind of tacked on. It reminds me of when I was making a game for college as part of my games development course, and I just had this random level at the end, and it kind of just fades into nothing after that. It feels a bit like that. You can definitely tell the ending was tacked on and doesn't control the best. It's just, yeah, I remember this, but yeah, it's not a lot of fun to really play. Though what is interesting is the fact that your health bar in this is actually Cybertron. So as the health bar decreases, that's how destroyed Cybertron is. To hurt Unicron, we need to fly up into him when he's about to fire to cause the cannon to malfunction and do damage to himself. This would be easier if it was easier to fly around, and Unicron sometimes moves at really fast speed and just doesn't settle anywhere, and once he does, by the time you get to him, it's too late. and you get blasted away because of the shock impact of the cannon fire. We do our best to defeat Unicron, however, Cybertron isn't looking good. And then... Oh, come on! Cybertron's exploding. Maybe it's funny if the video ends like this. Oh, well. I guess we lost. Cybertron's destroyed. But it's okay, because we get another chance and we defeat Unicron this time. And that's the actual ending. Yay! The Minicons are free, the Autobots rule Cybertron, the Decepticons are dead. And that's the end of the game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Looking back on this game though, compared to when I was younger, it certainly... Well, parts of it did hold up, parts of it certainly didn't. I feel like the first half of the game felt good, but it's almost like as you got near the end of the game, some of the stuff felt a bit rushed and reused. But again, it's an older game where things were different and a different time. But I definitely enjoyed the first half of the game more. I would have liked to have seen more maps and locations. It seemed like we just went back to the same places, and it's like, we're supposed to be seeing minicons all around the world. But, you know, we tend to go to similar locations. Why not have a desert level or something? That would have been interesting, right? Sinking in the sand. See, all they had to do is just change the snow level into a desert level. You know, just change it to be yellow. Problem solved, right? It's that simple. Though you shouldn't eat yellow snow, so maybe not. But anyway, it was a lot of fun coming back to this game and playing it again. Even though it wasn't quite as fun as I remember it being when I was younger, some aspects were certainly as challenging as I remember. Tidal Wave certainly wasn't a pushover, and I thought it was, you know, potentially the fact that I was younger I struggled with it, but no, he is a tough one. The other bosses though were fairly simple and easy to deal with, though they did give me some challenge. And I don't think I really took advantage of the minicon system when I was younger either, probably not realising. And while it is a simple thing that, you know, I was able to probably get through and figure out some stuff when I was younger, the minicons are quite an interesting system to have, and it's a bit of a shame that, you know, they weren't maybe a bit more utilised in some aspects. As in, like, we have, like, the glide, and the higher jump minicon, but maybe some more like that would have made some more interesting levels and designs. But, for what it was, I had fun when I was younger, and while the end of the game wasn't exactly what I was hoping, I still had a good time. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video as much as I did making it. It was a lot of fun to put together. There's definitely stuff I would change going forward, and I wanted to include more animation originally, but it just didn't work out. But I would definitely like to try and play with having more animation put into it. At the same time, I'm open to not having as much as I did in the video as well, and just seeing like a pure gameplay playthrough. Which, again, I did like covering the entire game as opposed to doing it as like split sections, but if it's a long game, maybe it will need to be broken up into multiple parts, but we'll see. Anyway, if you did enjoy watching it, maybe consider hitting that like button and subscribe button so you can keep up to date and see my next video when it comes out. Thanks for watching.